Hello everyone, Travis here, and today I'm going to be telling you the secrets on how to improve and get better. So, I actually got coached by Mutaking recently, and I asked him specifically like if he agrees that different people like get better or need different types of practice. But that was basically a disguise like how do I improve question, right? And you know what he said? He sighed. He actually sighed, and he said, "Look, I'll tell you this." And then he elaborated more, but um he basically told me the equivalent of just play a lot, and that's really it. And the reason why I made this video is because I think a lot of people like think there's some like secret to improvement. There's like some secret way that top players got good, and that you have to mimic that in order to get good yourself. And I'll tell you right now that the biggest secret to getting good at Smash is that there is no like secret. You grind it out. Um, you just grind it out. You literally just make a plan on how to improve and execute it, and that's really all there is to it. There's nothing more. You simply make a, you simply just put in the work. And I feel like a lot of people who want to find some secret to get better are doing it because they don't want to put in the work themselves. Like they're lazy. And I will say that because I will say that in the past I was lazy because I wanted just some secret to like instantly improve. So I will say there's a few tips and tricks to like make improving easier or better. But there's no like big secret. There's no thing that's gonna like carry you. There's just things that will like make your life a bit easier. And if I do find some of those, I might try to tell you guys. But I think the biggest secret is that there is like no secret to focus on. I will say there's about 5 or 6 things that do matter a lot towards improvement. That if just one of them is missing, it might fall apart. Like your whole like improvement might fall apart. And how much it'll fall apart might depend on the person. Some people can maybe get away with like not having one or two. But I would say most people probably need all of these things I'm gonna say. So, 1, stick and play one tournament series character. I do recommend playing other characters in friendlies though. I do recommend like picking up characters if you struggle with fighting them, or if you want to learn, if you struggle with a certain thing of the game and this one character teaches you that thing about the game. Like maybe you're learning offense, you want to play like Crom, Roy, or Fox or something. Like that's genuinely like a fine idea. But like the goal is to stick with one like tournament series character, one main. And I say that because if you play more than one character, in tournament series, you're gonna hold yourself back. And I've talked to like a lot of like high and top players about this, and they all agree. And this is surprisingly controversial, but I'm gonna be blunt. I'm not wrong on this one. You can still improve playing multiple characters, but you will guaranteed improve faster with one serious character. So, because if you play like a secondary, you're not like you're generally at low and mid level probably losing because of a weakness you have. And if you switch characters, you're not really improving on that weakness. You're just jaking them out with a bad or weird matchup that they don't know, or using a character that like carries your weaknesses. And you don't want to do that. You want to improve. You're sacrificing long term for short term, which long term is way more important when you rely on using secondaries to win. And I actually think this is probably the thing that held me back the most in Ultimate specifically. I'd probably be noticeably better than I am right now if I did not switch characters so often, or if I stuck with one character throughout the beginning. But yeah. And also just, if you play one character, you're going to be more focused. You'll come up with more concrete things you can work on, and you don't have to worry about, like, implementing that with 2 characters. Or, like, because you play 2 different characters, there's, like, twice as many things you have to focus on, technically. I would also say like number 2 is like work hard. Like if you want to become like a top level player and you're not putting in at least 6 hours a day, or at least I'm gonna say at least 4 hours a day at the beginning, And then like once you start getting better and more serious, like 6 hours a day, then you don't actually want to become a top level player. There's some players who can improve a surprising amount with less practice than that. And I think that's just a sad reality that like I think talent actually can. I think people who have a lot of natural talent do like plateau at a specific point. And people with hard work do not plateau. But like some people are able to get to a certain levels faster, and that's just a sad fact about life. But don't worry about comparing yourself to them. They'll just make you miserable. And you will surpass them if you just keep it up. Kind of like the tortoise and the hare, I think. Is kind of the mentality you have to have with that. But yeah, like again, like some top players have played like, I think like a Smash player, redacted now, but he played Smash 12 hours a day when Smash 4 first came out. 12 hours a day is literally like wake up, smash, sleep. Like that's literally what he did. And you I don't think you have to put in that much work. But like 4 to 6 hours, I would say, might depend on the person a little bit, because some people will actually like they don't need, or like too much practice is actually a thing. And you'll like learn less from it. But obviously, like if you're not actually taking the game that seriously, if you're not playing that hard, you actually do have to put in a lot of work if you want to become a top level player. Number 2 is smart work. You want to like specifically in Smash, you either want to focus on improving on certain things, or yeah, you always want to be improving on something, and you be kind of creative on what you want to improve on at a specific time. But you want to remove a weakness or a bad habit, or you want to optimize something, or you want to add a good habit, or like you learn an advanced concept and want to implement it, or implement like a new combo or something. It could be like literally anything, but you do want to kind of prioritize like what'll like the more important stuff. Like the basics and just fundamentals in general are more important than like a random like advanced technique. But yeah, you do want to practice smart. There's multiple ways to practice, and you need to find out what's best for you. The best ways to practice will actually be a little bit different for every player. Some players might benefit more from practicing movement and labbing. Some may not. Some may just need to be playing. Some need to study more than others. Some will get a lot from analyzing videos, etc. Like there's so much to Smash, and everyone has different strengths, and you can like add on to those strengths and like work on your weaknesses like in different ways. So, the fourth thing, I think the practicing hard, I feel like I haven't always practiced hard enough, but I do practice like, I don't practice like terribly, although my practice has been inconsistent, but we'll get into that. But my working smart, and Ultimate I work significantly smarter actually, I just don't like the consistency, and switching characters hurt me a lot. But in Smash 4, I did not practice smart. I maybe could have been significantly better in Smash 4 if I practiced smarter. Let me think. Oh yeah, mentality. Mentality is probably my second biggest issue. I've actually like lost tournaments and lost sets because of my mentality against players I probably would have beaten. I was number 2 in my region that I was probably number 1 skill-wise in, which probably sounds arrogant, but is genuinely what I believe. Because of my mentality. And I've had like mental blocks against specific players before. Like your mental actually has a big impact. Like sometimes you'll be as good of a player as you think you are. To an extent, you don't want to necessarily like overestimate yourself too much, because some things are just too unrealistic. But generally, if you think you have a good shot against this player, you're probably going to do better than if you think if you have a bad shot. A big thing about mentality that can help, I will say mentality is different for everyone, and working on mentality, like it's almost like improving at the game itself. Like it'll take time. And I actually think some players like focus too much on like telling you to like I see some players like focus too much on telling you to like, oh, just get a better mentality, just be better at mentality, and it doesn't work like that. You have to work on it. Like it takes a long time to get a better mentality, to reduce your ego, to not get tilted. It's not something you can just like instantly get better. There are things that can help. Generally, if you struggle with mentality, There may be reasons for it. And the how to fix it will be different for every person. I will say, like, if it's like real big mental issues, you can always look into therapy. But you can also just work on it over time. Look at your like the progress you are making and be patient with it. But yeah, mentality like was a huge issue for me, and still I actually have improved on it a bit, but it still is an issue for me. Like, in fact, it still is a pretty big issue for me. But I did reduce the issue a little bit. Like, you want to make sure to believe in yourself. Don't overestimate or underestimate your opponents. I will say a thing that can help with mentality a lot is to focus on improving over results, because results don't really matter that much at low and mid level. Low and mid level is actually like really inconsistent in my opinion. Because there's so many like strengths and weaknesses every player has. It's very hard to be consistent at like low and mid level in my opinion. So like trying to be consistent when it's like kind of impossible to be consistent, or not impossible, but like very hard and very like less likely than at higher levels where there's like less weaknesses that could be exploited by random things, is really important. So yeah, I would say consistency is another thing. I think that's something that also hurt me a lot. I would take like hiatuses from Ultimate for like no reason sometimes. And taking breaks makes sense, but like generally like the way you practice, you want to make sure you practice it like every day. Like, if you even go like one day without practicing like consistently really hard, it can actually like hold you back a surprising amount. And this is a little bit different for every player as well. And one thing I actually hate is that I've been like, oh, I haven't played Smash for a few days, so I'm rusty. They're like, oh, I don't play Smash for months, and I come back fine. I'm like, okay, you're a different player than I am. Different players will have different like levels of consistency, levels of rust when they take breaks. Some people can commit things to muscle memory and keep it there easier than others. But yeah, there's you want to make sure you keep it up, and you want to make sure to like not to take long hiatuses like I do. There's really no reason to take breaks for like a month. Like there's like actually just you could take breaks for like a couple days or like one day sometimes, but it should be like very like it shouldn't be something you do often, in my opinion. And I say this because like again, like breaks can hold you back, and a lot of people take breaks where they don't really need to, but they think they need to. And I find that breaks actually don't always help as much as people say they do. But there are some genuine times where you do need a break, and you should be good at figuring out when that is. I guess whenever you're getting like extremely stressed out would be a good time to take a break. But you do need to make sure to keep it up. Because you are sacrificing a little bit every time you do take a break, even if it's for like a day. And this is if you want to become like a really good player. And all of this advice is if you want to become a really good player. Like if you don't care about like being a top player, then by all means you don't have to. You could play like 10 different characters if you want to, seriously. But like if you want to become a top level player, everything I just said needs to be intact. You need to stick with one character. If you play more than one character and you're trying to become a top level player, you actually don't know what you're doing. I'm gonna be like, I hate to be rude like that, but it's the truth. You need to work hard. You need to work smart. You need to be consistent with your work, and you need to work on your mentality, because your mentality is extremely really important. But keep in mind that all these things will take time to work on, and you should not beat yourself up for not being instantly good at these things. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really hope this helps people. Really, as long as you stick to these things, like you keep grinding, you're smart with your grinding, and there's things you can do to help, and there's like advanced concepts. I will say like the one secret there is like there are like advanced concepts that like only top players know that mid-level players don't. But like you can honestly come up with a lot of that just by like thinking really hard about the game. But like generally, as long as you stick to these things, there are more things, but you'll honestly learn those things as you go on by watching other YouTube videos, by talking to people, by thinking about the game a lot. But yeah, just keep at it and you'll get there. Oh, another thing is patience. Patience is really important. Like, you're not going to get good at these things in a week, a month. It might be like 3 or 4 years before you like start getting like crazy differences, like becoming like a higher top level player. Like, even with like working like 8 hours a day for like multiple, like working really smart, doing all the things they said, it might be like a year before you start becoming like a higher top level player. So yeah. But just keep at it. You'll get there eventually. Don't rush yourself. Know what to practice. And I will hopefully come out with more like useful videos for you guys soon. Thank you for watching.